on me to come forward with information that he had asked me to give this information.
He went into great detail. He told me Charlie bent me over in between two trailers
And he told me that it was Charlie Sheen that did it. And then I said, well, who is it? And then he says, Charlie.
Cory Feldman just reignited one of Hollywood's darkest scandals, once again pointing the finger at the actor he claims destroyed not only his innocence, but his best friend's life. And it's Charlie Sheen.
in broad daylight. Anybody could have walked by, anybody could have seen it.
From disturbing on-set encounters to shocking allegations, Feldman isn't just naming names. He's cracking open the industry's most guarded secrets.
It was pretty much common knowledge. I mean, Charlie Sheen was diddling him on the set of...
Is this the final blow to Sheen's already crumbling legacy, or just the beginning of a truth Hollywood hoped would stay buried? Let's find out. When Charlie Sheen first denied the accusations made by Corey Feldman and Corey Haim, many people believed him. Even after Feldman claimed that Haim told him he had been a sed during the filming of Lucas, Sheen pushed back and even filed a lawsuit. But later, Sheen quietly dropped that lawsuit, raising eyebrows. Now, years later, Cory Feldman is speaking out again. And what he's saying is even more disturbing. He's accusing Charlie Sheen of being directly involved in the pain and trauma that led to Corey Haim's tragic death. According to Feldman, there are dark secrets about what really happened behind the scenes that the public still doesn't know. And this latest revelation has Hollywood buzzing with shock and suspicion.
Yeah, I was surrounded by them when I was 14 years old. Surrounded.
This isn't just another celebrity feud. It's a bombshell that's dragging some of Hollywood's darkest secrets back into the spotlight. Cory Feldman isn't just calling out Charlie Sheen. He's cracking open a scandal that's been buried for decades. The question now is Sheen truly the monster Feldman says he is? Or are we witnessing yet another twisted tale of betrayal, silence, and cover-ups in the heart of Tinseltown?
Didn't even know it. It wasn't until I was old enough to realize what they were and what they wanted and what they were about and the types of people that were surrounding me till I went, oh my God, they were everywhere like vultures.
15 minutes into the premiere of Cory Feldman's long-awaited documentary, My Truth, the R of two Corys, the 48-year-old former child star suddenly ran down the theater aisle. Surrounded by 4 security guards, he asked for the lights to be turned on and grabbed a microphone. Something was wrong.
What's not?
So what happened was I spent $1.3 million making this film. We premiered it at the Directors Guild. There was 700 people there, sold out audience, standing room only.
The documentary was meant to stream online at the same time as the Hollywood premiere, but Cory Feldman found out that the website, mytruthdoc.com, had gone down. Worried about leaks and frustrated that fans at home couldn't watch it live, he didn't want to continue the screening. You're seeing it. People don't want this to happen, Feldman told the crowd, suggesting something suspicious was going on. Things got chaotic. Some people in the audience shouted that the site was under attack. One even claimed it was being hacked in real time, though it wasn't clear if it was really a hack or just a glitch. After a tense few minutes and some back and forth with his team and support from actress Rosanna Arquette in the audience, Feldman agreed to keep going. Some vicious people have tried to turn the tables on me, he said, apologizing for the delay. But Rosanna Arquette said we should continue the film, so let's do it. Let's finish what we started. After nearly 3 years of buildup, My Truth finally premiered. Sharing Feldman's story and exposing the A, he says many child actors suffer in Hollywood. He also said the film fulfilled a promise he made to his late best friend and co-star Corey Haim to tell his story.
Media blackout because all the mainstream media has prevented me from coming forth and talking about this story.
Give it.
The documentary starts where Haim's story tragically ended, with an audio recording of the 911 call his mother made after finding him unresponsive in their Los Angeles home in 2010. The release of My Truth coincides with the 10th anniversary of Haim's death. The 38-year-old actor was pronounced dead a few hours later, with the Los Angeles County Coroner's office ruling his death as pneumonia, debunking earlier reports that he might have overdosed.
Watching everything that's happened today and the reports that have come out, the first thing I need to say is people need to stop. They need to stop jumping the gun. They need to stop saying it's a drug overdose. They need to stop saying, their theories of what they think it is or isn't. Because at the end of the day, until the coroner's report comes out...
From there, the film delves into the friendship between the two Corys, as they were famously known, shifting between their rise as successful child actors and the strained relationship that developed when Haim suggested Feldman knew about the A he had suffered as a child, but did nothing to stop it. This tension was captured in an episode of The Two Corys, a reality show that aired for 2 seasons on Andy before Haim's passing. For Feldman, that means revealing the names of the men who, he alleges, are the 2 best friends turned surrogate brothers as they navigated the intense spotlight of Hollywood in the late 80s and early 90s.
What the toxicology reports say, nobody knows. And nobody's going to know. We all are aware of the fact that Corey Haim has had a long and deep history.
Feldman has long spoken about the he claims both he and Haim endured as child actors. In an interview with Rolling Stone last year, Feldman accused 2 industry men of him when he was 14 and hinted that a famous actor had Haim, though he stopped short of naming anyone.
Trying to make him, stand up or say a complete sentence. I've been there with him through it many, many times, and it's happened very badly and very intensely.
In the new documentary, however, Feldman finally breaks his silence. In a scene that drew gasps from the audience at the premiere, Feldman names Charlie Sheen as Haim's alleged rapist, providing a detailed account that includes disturbing references to Crisco being used as lube and 2 trailers that Feldman claims concealed the S-Act from public view. According to Feldman, the alleged ALT occurred on the set of Lucas, a coming-of-age film where Sheen's character, Cappy, played a protector of sorts for Haim's character. The film, which also featured Winona Ryder and Courtney Thorne-Smith, was released in 1986. Haim was just 13 at the time of the alleged incident. It's unclear whether the potential legal ramifications that had previously kept Feldman from speaking out have been resolved, or if he simply decided to speak up despite the risks. After the initial reveal, Feldman doesn't mention Sheen's name again, and Sheen isn't interviewed or given a chance to make a statement in the film. However, when the National Enquirer first published the allegations in 2017, Sheen categorically denied them. Just hours after the premiere, Sheen publicly responded, "These sick, twisted, and outlandish allegations never occurred, period," his spokesperson told The Wrap. "I would urge everyone to consider the source and read what his mother, Judy Haim, has to say." The allegations against Sheen are supported in the documentary by Feldman's ex-wife, Susie Sprague, who appeared on The 2 Corys, and Jamison Newlander, an actor who grew close to Feldman and Haim after co-starring with them in the 1987 film The Lost Boys. Both claim that Haim had confided in them about the alleged suggesting that it was common knowledge in Hollywood circles, but ultimately ignored.
But it's a big part of our lives, and then we did the sequels too. So it feels like Lost Boys is just always there, even more than.
Cory Feldman had already named 3 other men he says assailed him when he was young. He accused his former manager, Marty Weiss, of inappropriate behavior. He also pointed to Alfie Hoffman, who ran Alfie's Soda Pop Club, a private hangout spot for child stars in the 1980s. Then there's John Grissom, Feldman's former assistant, who he accused of Alley molesting him during a 2017 appearance on The Dr. Oz Show. Grissom had small roles in 2 movies with Feldman and Corey Haim, License to Drive, 1988, and Dream a Little Dream, 1989. All 3 men are mentioned again in Feldman's documentary, My Truth, along with Dominic Brascia, a minor actor who was close to Feldman and Haim in the 80s. Grissom and Hoffman haven't responded to the accusations, and neither of them was interviewed for the film. Weiss, however, has spoken out on Twitter, denying the claims and saying Feldman keeps changing his story. Weiss also revealed that he himself was a victim of child SLAC. Brascia isn't in the film either, but there is a clip shown from the Dr. Oz show where Judy Haim, Corey Haim's mother, names Brascia, not Charlie Sheen, as the person who ed her son. In My Truth, Feldman says Judy Haim has been trying to cover up the truth about Charlie Sheen and has worked to discredit him. In one emotional scene, Feldman blames her directly, shouting, "It's your responsibility, Judy Haim, and not anyone else's. So stop putting the blame on me." Judy Haim doesn't appear in the film, and it's unclear whether she was asked to. She and Feldman have been at odds for years. Judy has publicly said that Feldman is lying and just trying to use the story to boost his own career. One of the more shocking claims in the film is Feldman's belief that Judy Haim is part of a group trying to destroy his reputation and maybe even harm him. Feldman, along with director Brian Hertzlinger, talks about a group of online haters he calls the Wolf Pack, who constantly attack him. He labels Judy Haim as the leader of this group and says they use fear and online bullying to silence him. Feldman believes this campaign doesn't just hurt him, it hurts all survivors of child AC by making it harder for them to speak out. My Truth portrays Feldman as a whistleblower, similar to those who exposed big cases like Jerry Sandusky, Larry Nassar, and Jeffrey Epstein. Although Harvey Weinstein isn't named, the director ties the film to the #MeToo movement and claims this is the right time to finally bring Feldman's story to light.
Everybody kept saying, you got to get the truth out. You got to get the truth out. Fine.
The film uses the hashtag #HashKids2 to promote the message. In an interview toward the end of the documentary, Feldman calls out the studio system for not providing a safe environment for minors. They're liable for what happened to Haim, he says. Still, he insists, I'm not outing a bunch of executives. It's not the executives that are the problem. Placing the blame instead on the little guys, like publicists, managers, parents, and other people who are with child actors on a daily basis. It's time for them to stop looking the other way. It's unclear as to what impact My Truth will have on Hollywood and its handling of child actors. In one scene, Feldman tells the camera that he has just met with SAG-AFTRA president Gabrielle Carteris and asked her to revoke Sheen's actor card. Her response, Feldman paraphrases, is that more people need to come forward with allegations so it can be proven in court. The interaction convinces Feldman to work with lawmakers on legislation to extend the statute of limitations for victims of childhood SA. A montage in the film later credits Feldman's lobbying for helping to move many of these bills forward. His home state of California signed a new law last fall that would give victims of childhood SA until age 40, or 5 years from discovery of the A, to file civil lawsuits. Introducing the film, Feldman emphasized that his goal was not to make it about himself, but to use his platform to speak for the voiceless, including Haim. The most important topics are the ones you hear about the least, he said. When you don't hear about it, that's when you should worry. Some will question whether it's appropriate for Feldman to tell Haim's story of alleged R, especially given the strong opposition from a grieving mother, and the fact that Haim himself never commented on the allegations. While Feldman maintains that his friend wanted these issues to be exposed, it's difficult to ascertain the full truth when one of the involved parties is no longer alive. Nonetheless, after years of pledging to reveal the truth, Feldman seems to be relishing the film's release. I didn't want to do this film, Feldman told the crowd at the glamorous premiere, but this is the shindig of a lifetime. This has literally been a lifetime in the making. But there is more to the story. Corey Feldman and Corey Haim shared the same first name, were lifelong friends, and co-starred together in a number of hit films, including The Lost Boys. But the Corys shared more than just credits. They also bonded over a shared history with the dark side of Hollywood, and allegedly as victims of its supposed ring of pedophiles.
But the person that knows who did it and knows who he is watching right now, I guarantee you.
As teens, both Corys turned to D, but Corey Haim's addictions were particularly prominent in his life. When he was just 18 years old, he went to rehab to tackle a crack C-iron addiction, but he struggled to remain sober. As he got older and his work tapered off, Haim fell back into his addictions and overdosed multiple times. By the mid-2000s, he was living in an apartment near Burbank with his mother, and it was here that Haim would ultimately die in 2010. Corey Haim's death was ultimately ruled to be the result of natural causes, but his long history with D-addiction certainly cast a dark and ominous shadow over the situation.
Most recently, he's been honestly in the best frame of mind that he's ever been in the past.
Corey Ian Haim was born on December 23, 1971, in Toronto, Canada. His parents, Judy and Bernie Haim, divorced in 1982, and Corey went to live with his mother in the Willowdale area. As a child, Corey was very shy, so his mother signed him up for drama, improv, and mime classes to help him come out of his shell. The classes worked well. While his sister Carol was going to auditions, casting agents noticed 10-year-old Corey and offered him a role on the Canadian kids show The Edison Twins. The show only ran from 1984 to 1985, but it launched Corey's acting career. Soon after, Corey got a role in the movie Firstborn, acting alongside Peter Weller. Corey played a boy living with his mom and her violent boyfriend, played by Weller. Weller, who was a method actor, got so into character that on the first day of filming, he screamed at Corey and even threw him against a wall. 3 assistants had to break it up. Weller later apologized, blaming his behavior on his acting method, but the moment scared Corey and stuck with him. Despite that, Corey kept acting and appeared in several popular movies like Secret Admirer, Murphy's Romance, and Stephen King's Silver Bullet. His big break came in 1986 when he starred in Lucas, playing a smart, awkward teen who falls for a cheerleader, played by Carrie Green. Corey actually developed a real-life crush on Carrie, but she turned him down. He said that heartbreak helped him give a better performance. Critics loved him in Lucas. Famous movie critic Roger Ebert said Corey created one of the most interesting and real characters he'd seen in a long time. He predicted that Corey wouldn't fade away like most child stars, that he had real talent. But behind the scenes, things were starting to go wrong. While filming Lucas, Corey began drinking, even during shooting. In 1987, he starred in The Lost Boys, where he met and bonded with Cory Feldman, who became his best friend. It was also when he tried marijuana for the first time, and from there, things escalated. "I lived in LA in the 1980s, which was not the best place to be," Corey later said. "I did CAN for about a year and a half, then it led to crack." Things got really bad in 1988 while filming License to Drive with Feldman and Heather Graham. By then, his DG use was out of control. In 1989, at just 18, Corey entered rehab and admitted his life had spiraled. At one point, he was even asking high school kids where to buy crack.
Because I've been the guy stuffing charcoal down his throat when he was ODing. I've been the guy.
Feldman was also notorious for his D use, described as having smoked bales of weed and having coke-off challenges with friends, competing to see who could do the most lines of CAN and stay up the longest. It was Feldman who would go on to write about his own experience growing up as a young actor in 1980s Hollywood, and particularly about the essay both he and Corey Haim allegedly suffered as a result. In Cory Feldman's autobiography, Choreography, Feldman claimed that he had been M for years by older men working in the entertainment industry. He also wrote that Corey Haim approached him with similar stories early on in their friendship, and that this mutual trauma formed a strong bond between them. Feldman later spoke to People magazine about the A, but stated that he would not name names so as to protect Haim's mother from any more pain. "There are people that did this to me and Corey that are still working. They're still out there, and they're some of the most rich and powerful people in this business. And they do not want what I'm saying right now. They want me dead," Feldman said. Feldman later released a documentary film titled My Truth, The R of Two Corys, in which he further detailed the A he and Haim allegedly faced. Among the startling revelations in the documentary was an allegation that Haim had once told Feldman that he was R by Charlie Sheen on the set of Lucas. Sheen would have been 19 at the time, and Haim just 13.
When I was about 14 and a half, and I'm saying this right now, by the guy you still hang out with, and tell me I'm...
Sheen's publicist denied the allegation. In 2017, Corey Haim's mother appeared on the Dr. Oz show and claimed that it wasn't Charlie Sheen who had allotted her son, but another actor named Dominic Brascia. Cory Feldman also accused Brascia of abusing Haim in his documentary. Brascia, however, denied the claims. Before his death, Corey Haim had hinted about the AC he experienced. In 2007, while filming the reality show The Two Corys with Feldman, Haim spoke directly about the ALT. He said the person who hurt him was someone Feldman knew. "I've accepted it for the most part," Haim said, "but it still leaves a scar that never really goes away." As teenagers, Corey Haim and Cory Feldman lived the fast Hollywood life. They went to many parties and even hosted a weekly underage party called Alfie's Soda Pop Club. It was a private party for young actors, but there were no adults around. Feldman later claimed that some powerful men in Hollywood came to those parties and assed young actors. Haim never publicly spoke about that AC, but he did say the party scene made his DG addiction worse. "By the end of it, everyone was on DGs, Haim said. "I was on DGs, Feldman was on DGs, and we were only 16 or 17. Sadly, Haim's struggle with addiction only got worse. He fell into debt, became isolated, and stopped getting acting work. By the early 2000s, he had filed for bankruptcy and described himself as being addicted to pretty much everything. In 2001, he was hospitalized twice because of DG issues. During the second incident, his mother found him unconscious. He didn't have money for medical bills and even tried to sell his teeth and hair on eBay, but the website blocked the sale because selling body parts is against their rules. By 2004, Haim had moved in with his mother but was still struggling with DGs. He went to rehab again in 2007, but admitted that he kept relapsing. Then, on March 10, 2010, Corey Haim was found dead in the apartment he shared with his mother. At first, people thought he had died from an overdose. But a few months later, CNN reported that his death was actually caused by pneumonia. According to the coroner, DGs were not a major factor, even though many assumed they were at first.
They need to stop saying, their theories of what they think it is or isn't, because at the end of the day, until the coroner's report comes out, until we have specific evidence, until we know exactly what the toxicology reports say, nobody knows. And nobody's going.
Rather, the autopsy found an extremely large amount of swelling in Haim's lungs, and further toxicology tests revealed that his blood did have low levels of several D, including a cough suppressant, antihistamine, ibuprofen, Prozac, olanzapine, Valium, carisoprodol, meprobamate, and THC. The autopsy determined, however, that the medications were present in low levels and were non-contributory to death. Corey Haim was just 38 years old when he died. But who is responsible for his death? Seemingly Charlie Sheen. And it was confirmed by other friends as well. Many friends who knew Corey Haim backed Feldman's claims in the documentary. Fellow friends who told Haim's truth included Jamison Newlander, Gary Hayes, Henry Penzie, Scott Carlson, and Susanna Sprague. Scott Carlson, who was the manager of both Corys, stated, "Haim told me specifically about what had happened to him on the set of Lucas. He told me who had done it, who A him. I found it hard to believe. If Feldman had not told me that that's what he'd been told for years, I probably would not have believed it. But to hear the same story over and over and over again, I kind of go, really? Well, I'm not comfortable at all saying it." And I don't care if 100 people have said it or 1,000 people said it. But what Corey Haim told me when I was sitting with Feldman in the office in the house in Vancouver, that he had been M on the set of Lucas, and it was Charlie Sheen. Even one person wrote, "This is a very lucid, caring interview from Feldman. I do not understand why Feldman ripped Haim in his book. This is the Cory Feldman that I think was still his old self." Another one added, "So true. Hollywood didn't miss Corey Haim until he died. So sad." So there you have it. That's it for today. See you in the next video. Until then, goodbye.